Thank you, Bishop. So in the spirit of Presente, 2019 was a year that we were all so very excited as your delegates. And as we get started, Jeffrey and I'm going to ask all the delegates that are in the space, if you could come up and up here where we can see you and recognize you as we begin. But we'll get started as you move forward. 2019 was an exciting time. Jeffrey and I met in the hallway after and said, yes, let's get to the work. We can't wait till 2020. And then it was 2021, and the conference didn't happen for all the reasons that you know. We have siblings all over the connection that needed to be at the General Conference, and because of COVID and the lack of vaccine in our central conferences, we were not able to have our conference. But I want to bring you up to speed. We meet every single month and have met every single month since we began. Both your lead delegates as well as our substitute delegates, together, Presente, together, clergy and laity. And so it is an incredible cornucopia of ideas and feelings and emotions around what the next step will be when we finally get to conference and have the ability to vote on behalf of the church. So let me bring you up to speed on what we've been doing. So even without the General Conference, your delegation has aligned with leadership throughout the Western jurisdiction of the United Methodist Church. Together, we have been hard at work living into a future we believe God has called us all to. From your Episcopal leaders, including Bishop Carconio, to our delegation that you see here, from the mission cabinet of the Western jurisdiction to multiple writing teams, we've been talking, praying, working, talking, praying, working. The Lord has given this diverse group of leaders the opportunity to see the hope of the future promised in Jeremiah 29, verse 11. As first elects, we wanted to share with each of our conferences this statement that I will make. Leading into a special called session of the Western jurisdiction in July, our jurisdictional mission cabinet formed 5 work groups to look at the future of our jurisdiction. These work groups examine our mission, the role of episcopacy, how we might live into the permeable, there we go, boundaries, and our administrative financial oversight. That's what happens when I talk too much. In that July special session, delegates decided to give the first elected delegates in the Western jurisdiction the responsibility to see the work group reports into potential legislation. This action transferred responsibility to the delegations, meaning the delegations of the Western jurisdiction, including your delegation, that we will look at this information and pull it apart. The 5 reports were consolidated down into 4. Those are the mission statement report, the permeable boundaries report, the episcopacy report, and the structure organization financial considerations report. Most of our delegations have been meeting, again, all within the Western jurisdiction, but you're more concerned about your delegation, and we have met. And you can find those reports, and we're going to move them to our conference website so that you can read them, discern them, because we will be having some talking groups that we will be inviting all of you to be a part of these talking groups so that we can hear from you about what you hear about these reports. And so it is such a great honor to serve you, all of us to serve you. First of all, please give a round of applause to your delegation because they show up. And what I love about our delegation, look at them. They're a diverse group of people from clergy, laity, together, Presente. And when we get to the annual conference, the general conference, whenever it may be, we will Presente for you. And I'm going to turn it over to my brother, Jeffrey Kwan.
Thank you so much, Sister Michelle. As you can see, from the California-Nevada Conference, has the most diverse delegation that we know of. So this speaks volume to the work that we do together. If you remember, we elected 36 delegates, 6 for General Conference, 20 for jurisdiction, and another 16 as alternates. During the pandemic, life happens. A good number of our delegates could no longer continue service on the delegation. So in the midst of the pandemic and with the postponement of the General Conference, 4 of our lay delegates and 2 of our clergy delegates decided to step away from this work. So the question has been whether or not we will have sufficient delegates when we go to General Conference, and especially when we go to jurisdictional conference, if and when that happens. We were thinking about whether or not we will need to elect new delegates, but our conference secretary, in conversation with the General Secretary of the General Commission on General Conference, responded that this is a matter that many conferences are having to deal with. Nonetheless, there is absolutely no provision in the Book of Discipline to elect new delegates. So we will still have 26 delegates, and if and when jurisdictional conference happens, 20 of our 26 will be seated. We will still have 4 clergy and 2 lay delegates that will be able to be seated when there is a need for others to step away. So we will have to work very hard to make sure that all these people who are elected, if and when jurisdictional and general conference happens, we will make sure that we drag them there, whether or not they are able to make themselves available. That is our commitment to all of you in this annual conference. And it has been a joy and a delight to serve this annual conference as part of your delegation. Thank you very much.
So please keep us in your prayers. Continue to, again, go to the website in a week or so and look for the mission reports, the work group reports. We will get back to you with a schedule of gatherings that we will be doing probably district by district to get your insight, to get your input, so that you will know exactly what we are thinking as your delegates, as well as what the Western jurisdiction as a group of delegates are thinking. But we need your prayers. So every day when you get up, when you're praying, remember to pray for your delegation, and because we need it. A round of applause for these wonderful people that I have the honor of working with. Thank you, Bishop, and thank you, Annual Conference. That is your delegation report.